Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Andre here, xenomorph.com. Finally back for YouTube, and I cannot wait to provide more regular updates from now on, and we kick off with Hot Toys Star-Lord from Infinity War. Before we go into that though, as you might see, there's kind of a change. We're shooting now against the grey background, and for those that are following me, I've finally and successfully put together this home theater room. Of course I had some professional help for this, but we are finally there, and thank you all, by the way, for the nice comments on Instagram and the other channels. It was really supporting in this whole progress, and here's a sneak peek. So as you can see, the background of the room, we have the whole collection stored in module cases, and then we basically have in the front part a home theater with a screen. We have the speakers covered below these acoustic treatment panels, and the whole room is automated with Control 4, and we have everywhere, of course, these cool LED light strips and bars. So it's pretty fancy, and if you have a chance to realize such a project, I can highly recommend that. Of course, it uses resources, uses financials, but if you plan it properly, you have the space to do that. It's one of the best things in the past few years, I realized, and it cannot get better. I mean, I'm here all by myself in the basement. I've got silence, I've got the collection, I can watch movies, and then of course I can do proper reviews, I can do proper photo shoots with the figures. And I hope you like the grey screen as a background. It's kind of a change, but personally, looking at it right now through the viewfinder, I'm pretty much liking it. Alright, so that's for the update. There will be a proper room tour soon, of course, and we go now first in the video review on Hot Toys Star-Lord. Alright, no huge surprise for the box, but I'm definitely a big fan of the colors that they used. The character print is perfect, it fits the tone of the Infinity War line perfectly, and we have here the MMS539. It's the third incarnation of Star-Lord in the Hot Toys figure lines, and basically what we have here is a rehash of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 version that you will immediately see when we then do the comparison of the two figures. Alright, let's keep moving. And here we go, Star-Lord out of the box, and look at this unmasked head sculpt. In this version of Star-Lord you have the straight looking face, which is one of the major differences compared to the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 version. But let's go first for the accessories. Even though this figure is kind of a rehash from the Guardians 2 release, you still have some differences, and the differences are mostly within the accessories. You get some new equipment, like for example this gravity bomb extension for the blaster, which he uses twice in the movie. I will show it to you later on, and it interacts together with the special effect, so you can kind of put these three flaps down, move it into the triangular shape below, and then it looks like this. So it's basically meant to freeze Thanos in place, and yeah, it's kind of a gimmicky thing. Also the special effect here looks rather cheap, if you ask me, not so high quality. But on the other hand, I definitely like this accessory. You will see it also afterwards with the movie scene together. So this is kind of a bubbling effect, high quality plastic, pretty cool. Then you get this plasma bomb, nice details. And then you have two things that they reused. One is the portrait with the helmet. And of course it has the light up feature. And I'm still a huge fan of the hair sculpt on this piece. It's just high quality sculpted and painted. Pretty sweet. And the other thing is the semi-helmeted portrait or helmet, which has kind of a translucent effect here at the front. And this only came with the deluxe version of the Guardians 2 figure. So this might be interesting for someone who has not the deluxe one yet. And then of course you have the stand, and you have an additional backdrop, which is kind of a semi-translucent disc shape that shows one of these mandala portals. I will show you in a second how this looks on the figure. Alright, so here you basically have this translucent plastic holding thing, which is used to kind of slide in the Mandela portal effect like this, right? And then it's meant to go on the flight stand. And it's definitely not that simple. Alright, so it's just not balancing right, and you definitely have to play with the whole thing. Alright, I think now I've found kind of an angle where it works. So let's see. Alright, so you got more or less the picture. So definitely a weird and bad concept of Hot Toys. So you have no chance to kind of mount the translucent plastic piece first and then use the other one, because there's no kind of screw to tighten that one up. So you need the lower stand of the figure or holder for the figure to actually balance the upper one. And this is definitely restricting the whole kind of illusion that we have the portal opening behind him, which is just not the case. I will try to do some poses later on, because in the movie you had him basically jumping backwards into one of the portals, but I highly doubt that this will work with this kind of cheap flight stand. It's not kind of this usual more stable flight stand. It's pretty a basic one, so I don't expect too much on this. So not so sure about this Mandela portal. The idea is quite cool, and I think it could look also nice on some photos where you basically have the lighting correct. Oh, and I almost forgot. So we closed the accessory section with these two items here. They're basically mandalas which are used for Star-Lord to hover through the air together with the magical power of Doctor Strange. They're definitely nicely done, fit perfectly to the boots of Star-Lord, so I will definitely use this one later on for some poses. So then let's go for movie authenticity. So for movie authenticity, I wanted to go first for a scene where Star-Lord and the Guardians meet the Avengers from Earth for the first time, where they actually thought they would hunt Thanos down. They meet up with Iron Man, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. In a short battle sequence you see him using the gravity gun equipment against Iron Man, so he uses it to kind of freeze down Iron Man by shooting it directly at the arc reactor. And then later in the same scene he gets a hold of Spider-Man, and as you can see, it's just a pretty cool recreation of that scene, and the likeness of Chris Pratt is definitely amazing. So one of the cool poses that you can put together with multiple characters. Alright, next up is the scene on Nowhere, one of the most iconic scenes in the whole movie, I think, where Star-Lord puts the blaster against Gamora, and here you can use this bubble effect. As you can see, high translucent plastic, and here from a bigger view you see how much Thanos is towering above the other two figures. It's really making up for a great display, if you ask me. And yeah, so that's a cool little throw-in by Hot Toys. One thing that annoys me a bit on this figure is actually this visible peg here on the hands, because the jacket is just not long enough, but yeah, it's probably a minor thing in the end. So then we switch to the Battle of Titan. Here we have a cool dynamic pose of Star-Lord who faces Thanos, supported by the Doctor Strange, who helps him by casting these Mandela portal effects as kind of a jumping help. And you either can use both of them or just one and have him in the zigzag pose, which is pretty sweet, really dynamic, and here the flight stand is definitely the right choice. One thing I want to point out, please be careful when you put on the helmet portrait. There you see a little paint chip on the collar, because actually it's not that easy to put on the helmet. It doesn't fit snug into the neck plug. Yeah, it's a bit of a bad thing. I hope I can rebrush it with a bit of dark red color. And the other thing in this scene is that he's basically ready to put the plasma bomb onto the back of Thanos. I tried to get a next pose up with Thanos on this little detail. Then of course you can get real crazy and have Star-Lord jumping over Thanos like this, and the plasma bomb ready in his right hand to nail it onto the back of Thanos. Pretty sweet. I mean, look at these details on the vest. Maybe let's do a quick 360 on this. So that's real quality by Hot Toys again. And it's just great to have these two mighty figures in one display, if you ask me. Then of course, to finish up this scene, we have the last move where Star-Lord floats backwards into the Mandela portal. Here we have the plasma bomb attached to Thanos' back with a bit of blue tack. But I think this makes up also for a great display. So here you can probably use the flight stand. Just be a bit careful with the balancing of this piece. This is probably the most extreme that you can get. Otherwise you have to kind of weigh something on top of the flight stand. Then of course Hot Toys being politically correct, they have not included the middle finger, but I mean, I can understand that, but it would be an unexpected great addition. And here you can see the semi-helmet portrait with kind of a translucent effect going on. And yeah, overall I'm pretty positive on this pose. Uses a lot of space of course, but if you want to do that, this is definitely an option. And then we're entering a final scene. So here we have Star-Lord shooting the gravity gun equipment onto the floor, and then basically we have Thanos being grabbed by this energy beam here. So yeah, I mean, for me this is kind of a gimmicky accessory. It doesn't look too good. It's not really translucent here on the bottom part, and all in all I'm just not a big fan of it. So decide for yourself if you want to make up for such a pose. It uses a lot of space of course, but I mean, on the other side you could then, if you have the space, you could place Doctor Strange and the bands of Kidarak. So there's definitely some options, but personally I'm just not liking this kind of energy effect. Also here you can see the energy bomb beneath. It's just not really meant to stand up well. Also I don't like how it attaches to the armor. I'm not even sure if it's correctly that way. But yeah, so that's another option you could have. So to finish up movie authenticity, I want to give some insights on the clothing and the outfits, because there are some major differences. For example, he has kind of new pants on in Infinity War, and what is definitely obvious is that they added these kind of booster switches not had in Guardians 2. Also the pants in general are different. You will see that in comparison later on. And I still think that the color is just a bit off. It should be darker. It should be more like, let's say, brownish, even more towards a black kind of color, and not as a red burgundy color like this. But overall the quality is pretty sweet. So the jacket of Infinity War, Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 are quite similar in the movie, but you definitely can spot some differences. For example, if I show you the comparison photo, you can, for example, spot that this emblem or symbol should be sitting further down below in the Infinity War movie, where it exactly looks like this in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So this confirms that this is definitely just a reuse or a rehash of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 jacket. Still, I'm a big fan of the jacket, so I don't mind too much, but if they go for the full Infinity War look, I mean, these are details fans are looking for, so make up your own mind. Okay, let's go from comparison with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Star-Lord here on the right side. That's definitely the most interesting comparison to do. So with the Infinity War version on the left side, you actually receive a Star-Lord with the booster packs on the boots, including the switches on the pants, where on the Guardians 2 version you just have normal boots and a totally different pant design. So that's might be an interesting fact. Personally, I prefer the one of Infinity War, but still I think for both the color is just off. It should be really darker. Then what you also have missing on the Infinity War version is the gloved hands. So here you receive, on the Guardians, you receive some gloved hands. The sculpt on the blasters is exactly the same. Didn't spot that much of a difference, maybe some. Then let's quickly focus on the jacket. So on the first look it looks exactly the same. There is some kind of a different material going on the Star-Lord Infinity War version. You see that it seems to be a more durable kind of leather, it has more structure to it. But also it's kind of a bit more rigid and doesn't look as flat to the body as it could be. Might be also a time thing. And then of course, as I said earlier, we have the symbol and the emblem just at the same location, where it actually should sit further down below. With the latest Infinity War version we get this grey-black shirt, pretty sweet, nice and high quality, and he actually began to wear this already during Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so it's good to have it now finally in, and it helps to differentiate both figures a bit better. And of course you won't receive kind of these add-ons like the headphones and the Walkman, and there are definitely some other differences. And then as a final comparison we check out the two portraits. So the obvious difference is of course we have the Guardians 2 looking a bit on the side, or we have the Infinity War version looking straight. There might be some paint differences as well, it's subtle, but I think the hair on the Infinity War version is a bit more glossier and darker, where it's more lighter on the Guardians 2. It's the same beard, facial hair style, but overall I just feel that the Infinity War version is a bit more high quality, and I also prefer the straight looking face kind of. Yeah, but it's really, those two head sculpts, they are definitely top-notch work of Hot Toys, so praise to them again. Big fan. Then for the semi-helmeted portrait you see actually a difference. I was not aware of that. So you can see on the left side there is a fade effect going on the opacity of the helmet, and on the right side it's kind of a solid piece and it's more separated, where you see the kind of translucent parts attaching to the helmet. So small but neat detail by Hot Toys. It seems they kind of care to do at least optimizations on their accessories. And just to point out that clear, you don't receive the long jacket, you don't receive the scarf or the chest plate. You also have less options to display the figure because of less accessories, right? So that's all have to be taken into account when investing into the Infinity War version. And on the last note we have a look at the comparison of the helmet. So paint wise the helmet is exactly the same, sculpt wise as well. Just that the hair has some different paint application. Here on the right side Guardians 2, left side Infinity War. So yeah, just a matter of taste in the end. Both are pretty cool. So for feature and articulation there's not much more I could show you actually, so maybe let's quickly have a bit of highlight on the figure without its jacket. Looks pretty sweet, high quality fabric as you can see. Of course you can mount the blaster here on the right side to the pants. This works pretty flawless if you ask me. So there you see the attachment area. Then you could, for example, put the gravity bomb equipment into his hand, because I think that's just one hand sculpted to fit that piece. And then of course you have these mandala effects, and this is definitely one of the better things in the whole set to add to the figure, because it really makes up for some dynamic poses with Star-Lord. Okay, let's have a quick conclusion on Hot Toys Star-Lord Infinity War version. It's definitely a nice release, and if you don't own a Star-Lord figure yet, I would say go for it. If you have, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 version already, then this should be probably a pass, or you're a huge Star-Lord fan, or you just want to complete every figure in the Infinity War line, then it's probably also a good catch. Interestingly, it has the same price tag as the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Deluxe version, which had a lot more accessories, a lot more display options. And this is kind of questionable, so again, Hot Toys trying to make a big money, being greedy, kind of. But yes, that's how they roll. And as you can see, there are at least some differences in terms of the outfit. We have different pants, we have different boots, there's a different head sculpt, so there's definitely some positives in this set. But overall, kind of, it's a hard decision to take here, and I will definitely leave this decision for you all. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in into this latest video review, and see you soon. Bye bye.